Hello everyone, welcome to Down and Dirty. Today we're going to work on making up some side mirrors for the LJ, running it naked. Don't have mirrors when you have the doors off and you can't see anything in your blind spot, so I just wanted to make up something simple, quick, easy, basically just for that purpose when you're driving in traffic to be able to see what's beside you, blind spot wise or close to the back end. I'm not worried about large mirrors like what comes on the doors, but just something so I can see and make it a little easier to back into parking spots. It's kind of hard to see on your passenger side without any kind of mirror, so basically I'm going to put one on each side though. I bought two of them. We're going to go ahead and just make up mounting for both of them. This is what I got. Basically called it blind spot mirror. Got it at Walmart yesterday. Got two of them, $3.47 a piece. They got a sticky back on them, and they're actually angled. You get a closer view of this, but they're actually angled. And the base in the center rotates, so you can mount them, you can have them so you can see farther out or closer in, down, up, whichever way you want to mount them. I'm going to mount them so I can just see the side of the Jeep and farther out to start with. I guess you can always rotate it so on an adhesive back. So I'm just going to basically make a metal disc with a bolt, put it through the hinge hole, and that's what we're going to do. All right, let's get started. All right, I know this is really crude, but this is just a piece of round material that I had laying around. It was like bent into like a C shape. Kind of worked perfect just so I could mock this up. And I've got masking tape holding my mirror on in place. So I go sit in the driver's seat and come over here and sit in the driver's seat and look through it to see if it's giving me what I wanted position wise. And it is. So now I'm going to make up my bracket. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to raise it up higher, kind of I guess closer to the top of the dash position. Okay, I'm going to be using this Portaband today, DeWalt portable bandsaw that I made this table for. Take this off. I've seen it in other videos. I made this table stand for it. Companies make them, you can buy them. I just made my own. That's one of the things I do. I just make up whatever I need. It's far cheaper and it's more fun just to make it. So anyway, we're going to use this to cut out the circular pieces out of this plate steel here. Quick and easy way for me would I could just do the plasma cutter, but most people don't have a plasma cutter, so I'm trying to do this so everyone can get kind of an idea of how they can easily do it. Actually, I would use a jigsaw, but my jigsaw is not in very good shape. I need to get a new one. It's pretty much wore out. So you can do this with a jigsaw. Be the easiest, quickest, cheapest way that you could do it. But if you have a Portaband like this, you can do it this way as well. So this is how I'm going to do it because my jigsaw is kind of crapped out. Well, I say it's a little more difficult doing it with this Portaband because this 1/2-inch blade, it's hard to work around this tight radius. It's actually going better, smoother than I thought it was going to, but we're going to get rid of this tail on here so it's easier to work around the rest of the way. The other problem with this is the throat depth, they call it. how large of a part you can get between your blade and the actual saw. And I've run out of room going that direction, so now we're going to go the other direction. There we go, we have a circle. Take the grinder and smooth it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to bend this 1/4 inch solid bar stock here. It's what I'm going to use to attach the mirror. The circular part that we just made to the bolt that I'm going to stick down through the hinge hole to mount this, and we're going to bend it this at a 90-degree angle with this press brake here. This press brake I bought from Eastwood, and this tabletop press that I made. If you haven't seen that, I've got a video on that. I made this press, and so it's portable. You can move it around easy. You can actually throw it in the back of the truck and take it with you when you go on long wheeling trips, when you're hauling everything and taking it with you. But so anyway, we're going to get this bent here at 90 degrees. There we go. Got that bent at 90 degrees. Now I'm going to cut it off. Basically 4 3/8 each direction is how I'm making these. Already got the first one done. Okay, we're going to get this stuff welded up. One thing real quick here. I didn't think shoot video of it because I just did it real quick. But these 3/8 bolts that I'm using for dropping down through the hinges to mount the mirrors, I drilled a 1/4 inch hole in the top. I just put it in my vise in a drill press. Drilled a 1/4 inch hole down, probably about a 1/4 inch. And it was tight enough fit, I actually had to pound these bolts onto this 1/4 inch solid bar stock here that I used. So I did that because it's going to make it easier for me to weld it, for it to be aligned and to weld around it. And so I'm going to MIG weld these. I actually was going to TIG weld them, but I know a lot of people don't have TIG welders. So we're not going to TIG weld it, we're just going to MIG weld everything. And then these, we're going to set at a slight angle, because that's the way my mirror worked out, my test fit. I want to weld this off towards the edge. And I think we're going to do this part first. Magnets are great and a pain in the butt both, so. You don't want to weld too much at once. This is like, I think I'd have to check it again. I think about a 1/16 thick. I don't want to seriously warp it, so. So then here again with welding, you have a thick piece, 1/4 inch solid rod, and a thin, it's about 1/16 plate. When you strike your arc, you're going to strike your arc and concentrate it on the thicker piece first, and then turn into the thinner piece. And as soon as you hit the thinner piece and you see it go red, then stop. Otherwise, you're going to warp your thin piece really bad. Because if you start your arc on your thin piece, go up to your thicker piece, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of penetration in your thicker piece, or you're going to warp and burn through your thinner piece before you get it welded up. So you always want to concentrate your heat on your thicker part. If you've got different thicknesses of material, concentrate your heat here first, and then go into your thinner piece until you can see it just start discoloring, or you can see it start turning red from the heat from the weld. So okay, I'm set up for the second one here. And remember that we're making mirrors, so they have to mirror each other. Don't go weld them up identical. It's not gonna work out too well for you. So I'm going to set up so I've got the same angle, same position on both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and weld that one up now. But yeah, make sure you do this and don't weld them up both identical. Not going to work too well. You're not going to have a right and a left. Okay, so what we're doing here is I won't be able to weld all the way around this without flip-flop. Thought I'd have to flip the part around. So what I did, I C-clamped the nut to hold it, but then I just kind of threaded the bolt into that. So now you don't want to ground to the table like you normally do welding stuff, or like you do sometimes anyway, not necessarily normally, because this is a threaded piece. If you clamp to the table, when you start welding here, in order to make a ground, you're going to arc your threads together in the nut and the bolt, and that's going to mess your threads up. So you don't ever want to do that. So you want to ground directly to the piece that you're going to weld. So I'm going to put my ground clamp on the bolt itself, or anywhere else, but I'm just going to put it right here on this bolt. So that way, you're not arcing two moving pieces together, movable pieces together, to create your ground. And that's really bad if it's a bearing. So you always want to make sure, if you've got something that's got a bearing surface, a shaft or something, you don't want to ground on one side of the bearing and weld on the other side of the bearing, because you're going to do the same thing. You're going to create ground arc between the ball or the roller and the race, and you're going to destroy your bearing. So you always want to make sure that you ground on the side that you're actually welding on if it's a movable part like this, threaded or bearing or whatever. Now everything's welded. We'll do a little bit of cleanup to make it all look pretty, since it's a mirror. And we'll get them painted black, match the Jeep. All right, so I just put this self-etching primer on these, and we'll let this dry. Then we'll paint them black. I like using this stuff on bare metal. Helps prevent rust more than just using the paint. So here we are. Got our pieces all done, painted. Haven't put the mirror on yet, so far it's just, we're still looking at just the mirror bracket that I made. But anyway, this is it. It's all done, painted, welded up, and we'll get this mounted on and stick the mirror on it. See how it looks. So there's a mirror bracket in place. Again, here's our mirror. And it's got adhesive back, and it rotates 360 degrees, and it clicks. So we're going to stick it on. I'm actually going to stick it on with the thicker side towards the inside of the vehicle. That creates more of an angle out away from the vehicle, is what it does, but you can always rotate it. That to any position, wherever you want it to be. where I want it to be, because that's the way I laid this whole thing out to work that way. So there it is. Like I said, this thing rotates around. It's on an adhesive base, so we just stuck it right to the brackets that we made. I mainly wanted it for in traffic, when there are multiple lanes of traffic, and for parking. Okay, so here it is from my perspective, from the driver's seat. There's the driver's mirror, and we'll look over. There's the passenger mirror, and as of right now, pretty much gives me what I was looking for. Just so I can see anybody in my blind spot. I can make it easier backing into a parking spot, which I normally do at work. Normally I always back in, so it's going to give me what I wanted. So we'll see how it works out. We'll let you know after some drive time with them. See how it goes. Pretty cheap and easy, I guess mainly because I had all the materials, but you know, the mirrors are less than $4 a piece, I think is what they were, so pretty inexpensive. Okay, so I had this all done. I actually had the video pretty much wrapped up. I took it for a drive and it was okay. I would say this way, which I kind of played around with, see how much flex there was going to be from wind blowing on this was my biggest concern. And that wasn't bad, but you get on the rougher roads like we have here in South Carolina for the most part, is this way, it would get some vibration out of it. And I could see them, especially the ones beside me, I could see it moving a lot from the rougher roads, although you don't really see it in this rounded mirror because it doesn't show it as much as like your larger flat mirror would, standard mirrors. So what I'm going to do, and I wanted to put this in as an edit before I finish the videos, I'm just going to take the same 1/4 inch stock and I'm going to triangulate this. So we'll get rid of this flex movement that you get on the rougher roads. And at the same time, it'll help a little bit with, which I really wasn't seeing a whole lot just from the wind, even at 55 or 60 mile an hour. So that's what I'm going to do with my design. You could also maybe make this out of 5/16 solid stock. May get rid of that issue. My option was I only had 1/4 inch or 3/8 here. I didn't want to make it out of 3/8 because it was going to make it that much heavier. I didn't want them to be real heavy and bulky. So I'll be grinding the paint off and welding this on, triangulating that, and then repainting them, and then they'll be good to go then. All right, well that concludes this video, making the side mirrors for the LJ. Pretty much was just to get a better perspective of anyone in your blind spot, make it easier to back into parking spots. I mean, it was never meant to replace the big mirrors that come on the doors, just to give me something a little better. See what's around you. All right, thank you for coming. Like, subscribe, share. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Take care.